Welcome to Mythbusters Reading Edition. My name is Dr. Kathryn Garforth from Garforth Education.
And I'm Lynn Givens from Connect to Comprehension.
Reading Fluency Myth. Fluency instruction and practice only works with young students. It's great to help students at any age learn to read fluently. And by reading fluently, we don't just mean reading quickly. It's getting them to give that expression and paying attention to the punctuation. I know one way that I worked with some older students was I brought my brother in, who's actually a news reporter. And I got him to do some exercises with the kids, and they love this. And I'm sure if you reach out to a local radio personality, maybe a news, depending on your connections, getting them to come in and do it and say, look, like if I read the news like this, no one would pay attention, right? Or, your radio and that sort of thing. They're like, they can't talk like in this deadpan voice with no expression. And yeah.
I think one thing that really helps is, we talked about the different areas of fluency, and that the reason we use rate so much is it's so easy to measure. Mm-hmm. Well, the other aspects of fluency are also easy to measure, but you don't necessarily measure them with a number. You can, but what I suggest is that you have a fluency checklist or rubric. And you have different ones for different age students, but you can do that with every age student. Excuse me. So for first graders, you can use a fluency checklist, and you can have pictures to help them remember. You can have a big picture of a period and a question mark. And so they're checking off, I stopped at periods and question marks. They don't even need to be able to read all the words in the checklist, but if you have visual cues for them, so that you can assess those elements of fluency. For older students, you're going to be looking at the same elements, but they're going to be more sophisticated. So in addition to stopping for periods and question marks, like for first graders, older students are going to be stopping for commas, reading in more meaningful phrases, using intonation so that they're stressing the important parts of a sentence. So you can even give them sentences like, I thought he stole the money. Okay, I thought he stole the money. I thought he stole the money. I did, but nobody else did. I thought he stole the money. Oh, he didn't borrow it. He actually stole it. I thought he stole the money. Oh, he didn't steal my umbrella. He stole my money. So older kids really respond to that kind of practice with stressing the words in a sentence. So you're still working on the elements of fluency with older kids, but you're doing that in a more sophisticated manner. Of course, if you have older kids who are still struggling to just read in meaningful phrases, you would certainly do that. So if you have students who are still at the foundational level in terms of fluency, you would want to work on that. But there is still plenty of room to practice fluency with older students. And it's very worthwhile. Dr. Tim Rosinski talks a lot about that, and also Dr. Shanahan about how we need to continue fluency instruction with our older students. I just read an article by Dr. Shanahan that stresses this. And the name of the article was Why Fluency Should Be a Hot Topic. And one of the issues he deals with is the fact that older students need fluency practice as well. And I believe it. I really do think that that's true.
Well, and it's also important to know that explicit instruction isn't just needed in those early grades. There are students that need to be explicitly taught to pay attention and what you do when there's a question, and how the stress changes the word. You can't just assume that they understand and they can take away the differences in the stress. And especially when we are dealing with children with different exceptionalities, such as autism, right? And they can't pick that up automatically. They need to be taught how
exactly
to take the sounds of the words And, when I ask a question, my voice often goes up, right? And, an exclamation mark means that you're giving it extra force.
Exactly.
Right?
And like with everything that we've talked about and that we are going to talk about, Kathryn, explicit instruction, explicit instruction, explicit instruction, explicit instruction. How many times can we say that? But that's true for effective teaching in everything, that you're systematic, that you're cumulative, that you provide lots of chances for practice and review, that you're sequential, that you don't tackle the harder things before you work on the easier things. So that's true for every component of reading. And so if you keep that in mind, it really helps you stay focused regardless of what you're teaching.
Of course.